Hello coin collectors and history lovers. Welcome back to our channel Old Charles, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of coins, their history, and their true value in today's market. In this video, we'll be exploring the United States 1 dime from 1969, a small coin with a big story. From its rich history to its collectible value, we'll cover everything you need to know. So, stick around until the end, because some of these dimes can actually be worth way more than just 10 cents. The 1969 US dime belongs to the Roosevelt dime series, which first began in 1946. The dime was redesigned after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt to honor his leadership and his association with the March of Dimes campaign, which raised funds to fight polio. By 1969, America had already gone through a major change in its coinage. Just 3 years earlier, in 1965, the U.S. Mint eliminated silver from circulating dimes and quarters. Before 1965, dimes contained 90% silver, but rising silver prices made it too expensive for everyday coinage. That means the 1969 Roosevelt dime is made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, a pure copper core with outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Each dime weighs 2.27 grams and measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter. 3 mints struck the dime in 1969: the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark; the Denver Mint, with a D mint mark; the San Francisco Mint, with an S mint mark for proof coins. Together, hundreds of millions of dimes were produced that year, making it a very common coin in circulation. But as always, the story doesn't stop there, because condition and rarity play a huge role in its value. When we talk about coin collecting, the first thing we must consider is condition. A dime from 1969 that has been heavily circulated, the kind you find in pocket change, is usually only worth its face value, 10 cents, but collectors are always searching for coins in higher grades. A 1969 dime in uncirculated condition, meaning it has never been used and still has its original mint luster, can fetch a few dollars. A coin graded MS-60 to MS-63 might be worth between $1 and $3. A coin graded MS-65, which has strong luster and only minor marks, could bring $5 to $10 at the very top. Coins graded MS-67 or higher are much rarer and can reach prices of $40, $60, or even over $100, depending on demand. Now let's not forget about the proof coins made in San Francisco. Proof dimes from 1969 were struck with extra care for collectors, giving them mirror-like surfaces and sharp details. A 1969 S-proof dime in pristine condition might range from $2 to $15, and in the highest proof grades with cameo contrast, it could go for much more. One of the most exciting parts of coin collecting is discovering errors and varieties. The 1969 Roosevelt dime also has a few notable errors that can increase its value. Off-center strikes. If the design is misaligned, depending on how dramatic the error is, it could be worth $20 to $100 or more. Double die varieties **** if parts of the lettering or date show doubling under magnification. These coins can be highly collectible and may sell for hundreds of dollars if certified. Clipped planchets, a dime that is missing a small curved section due to a minting mistake, might bring $10 to $50. Collectors pay premiums for these unique error coins because they are much harder to find than standard strikes. So let's quickly recap the value of the 1969 Roosevelt dime. Circulated condition ***, still worth 10 cents. Uncirculated condition, MS-65 and above, between $5 and $50 plus, depending on grade. Proof coins, 1969 S***, typically $2 to $15, higher if cameo or deep cameo. Rare errors and varieties ***, anywhere from $20 up to several $100. As you can see, while most 1969 dimes are very common and worth just their face value, the true treasure lies in coins that are in exceptional condition or those that feature rare minting errors. The 1969 US dime may seem like just another small coin, but behind it is a rich history tied to President Roosevelt, the end of silver coinage, and the artistry of American minting. For collectors, it's not just about the money, it's about holding a piece of history in your hands. To truly understand the 1969 Roosevelt dime ***, we have to look back at both American history and U.S. coinage history. The dime as a denomination dates all the way back to 1796, when the very first draped bust dimes were struck. Over the decades, the design changed multiple times, from the capped bust, to the seated Liberty, to the barber dime, and then the Mercury dime introduced in 1916. Each design reflected the artistry, politics, and spirit of its time. By the mid-20th century, America had gone through the Great Depression, World War II, and the beginning of the Cold War. In 1945, after serving as president for more than a decade, Franklin Delano Roosevelt passed away. He had led the country through both the Great Depression and World War II, becoming one of the most influential presidents in U.S. history. But there's another reason Roosevelt was chosen to be honored on the dime. Roosevelt had contracted polio in 1921, and for the rest of his life, he was a symbol of courage in the face of disability. In the late 1930s, Roosevelt became closely connected with the March of Dimes, a nationwide fundraising campaign created by the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis. The March of Dimes helped raise money to fight polio, which was one of the most feared diseases at the time, especially for children. Because of Roosevelt's leadership and his connection to the March of Dimes, it was only fitting that after his death, the dime, the smallest and most fitting denomination, was chosen to honor him. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946, just 1 year after his passing. The coin's obverse, or front, features a portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt designed by John R. Sinnock, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. The reverse of the dime shows a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace, and an oak branch representing strength and independence. This design has remained essentially unchanged since its introduction in 1946. Now, fast forward to the 1960s. During this period, the United States was experiencing enormous social and economic changes. One of the biggest changes to coinage came in 1965, when the U.S. Mint stopped using silver in dimes and quarters. For over 150 years, dimes had been struck in 90% silver, but rising silver prices made it unfeasible to continue. People had even started hoarding coins for their silver content, creating a coin shortage. Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from dimes and quarters and reduced silver content in half dollars. Starting in 1965, the dime was made with a copper-nickel-clad composition, a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of copper and nickel. This new composition looked similar to silver but was much cheaper to produce. By 1969, this new clad coinage was still relatively fresh, and millions of Roosevelt dimes were being struck every year for circulation. 3 different mints produced the dime in 1969: the Philadelphia Mint, which produced coins with no mint mark; the Denver Mint, which used the D mint mark; and the San Francisco Mint, which focused on making proof coins for collectors, marked with an S. This period of American coinage history also marks the rise of proof and mint sets. More collectors were buying these directly from the U.S. Mint, preserving coins in pristine condition. That's why many high-grade 1969 dimes, especially proof strikes, still exist today. But it's important to note that while the Roosevelt dime design remained unchanged for decades, the world around it was not. The year 1969 was one of the most historic years in American history. The United States landed a man on the moon with the Apollo 11 mission. Social movements were reshaping American culture. The Vietnam War was ongoing. Amidst all this change, the little dime continued to circulate quietly in everyday life, in vending machines, laundromats, payphones, and in the pockets of millions of Americans. The Roosevelt dime, though small, represented stability and continuity during a turbulent era. When you look at a 1969 dime today, you're not just holding a piece of metal. You're holding a piece of mid-20th century American history. A coin that links back to Roosevelt's legacy, the fight against polio, the end of silver coinage, and even the social and cultural revolutions of the 1960s. When we talk about the value of a 1969 Roosevelt dime, one of the most important factors is condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition can make the difference between a dime worth face value, just 10 cents, and a dime worth dozens, or even hundreds of dollars. Oh, let's break it down carefully. Most 1969 dimes you'll come across have been in circulation for decades. These coins have passed through thousands of hands, spent time in coin jars, vending machines, and laundromats. As a result, they show obvious signs of wear. The details in Roosevelt's hair are smoothed out, the cheek and jawline lose definition, and the torch on the reverse looks flat. A heavily circulated dime from 1969 is generally worth only face value, 10 cents. Even a lightly circulated dime, where some luster remains but noticeable wear is present, might only fetch a small premium, maybe 15 to 25 cents from bulk buyers or dealers. For the average person finding one in change, it's a common coin. But collectors usually pass on worn examples unless they are rare era varieties. The next step up is the about uncirculated range, also called AU-50 to AU-58. These coins show very slight wear, usually only on the highest points of the design, such as Roosevelt's cheekbone, hairline, or the tops of the branches on the reverse. These dimes often still have a good deal of original mint luster. In this grade, a 1969 dime can bring 50 cents to $1, especially if the coin has good eye appeal. This is where things get exciting. A dime in mint state, MS 60 or higher, has never been circulated. It may have minor bag marks, scratches from contact with other coins at the mint, or slight imperfections, but there is no actual with a Sheldon scale, which grades coins from 1 to 70, is used by professional services like PCGS and NGC. Here's how values rise as grade improves. Now we're talking about investment level condition. At this level, the coin is virtually flawless to the naked eye, with razor-sharp detail and blazing luster. These can fetch $75, $100, or even more, depending on market demand. Let's not forget about the proof coins. The San Francisco Mint struck special proof coins for collectors in 1969, marked with an S. Unlike regular business strikes, proof dimes are made using specially polished dies and planchets, resulting in sharp details and mirror-like fields. Asterisk higher-grade proofs with a coveted cameo or deep cameo contrast, where Roosevelt's portrait appears frosted against a mirror-like background, can command $10 to $30 or more, especially in proof 69 or proof 70 grades. Proof coins are not rare, since many collectors save them in sets, but finding one in absolutely pristine condition still adds value. It's not just the grade, eye appeal is key. Two dimes with the same technical grade can have different values if one has rich luster and attractive toning, while the other looks dull or spotted. Collectors love coins with beautiful rainbow or golden toning, which can raise their market price significantly. For serious collectors, having a coin graded and encapsulated by professional services like PCGS, NGC, or ANAX adds credibility. A 1969 dime in MS 67 certified by PCGS can sell for far more than the same coin uncertified, because collectors trust the grading. Condition is the most powerful factor in determining the value of a 1969 dime. While most people will only ever see these coins as pocket change, collectors know that a well-preserved example can transform a common coin into a prized collectible.